All right. What's up, YouTube? What's up, Twitch chat? What's up, everybody hanging out, checking out the live stream? I just got through a league with 20s, close to like 2020 Grixis Death Shadow with Gurmag Anglers and everything. So if you haven't checked that video out yet, feel free to check it out on the channel. Playing through some Drakes this next one. Deck that TSP Yendrick has top 8 challenges with, 5 leagues with. The idea revolving around you being a good blue-red control deck with this funny top-end combo of Crackling Drake, standard staple of Seasons Past. Not the card Seasons Past, the time frame. You get it. X4, star 4 flyer for 2 blue, 2 red. Power is equal to the number of instants and sorceries you own in exile and in your graveyard. Enters, draw a card. So 4 mana, really big flyer a lot of the times. And with Arena of Glory, we get to potentially haste it up. So we can play it out, haste up a big flying crackling Drake, and hopefully kill our opponent in like 1 turn, maybe 2. But when we're not crackling Draking, we are a Snapcaster Bolt interactive deck with Thunder Trap Trainer for card advantage. Snapcaster and Thunder Trap, conveniently both wizards for Flame of Arnar. We've got Flare of Denial. We've got our counter spells, expressive iterations, all the good blue-red goodies you could ask for. In the sideboard, we've got Surgical Extraction, Stern Scoldings, Consigned Memory, Pyroclasm, Blood Moon, Vendilion Click. I'm super excited for Vendilion Click, even if Click is not excited to be in the deck list. 1 Force Negation, 2 Obsidian Charmaw. So let's go ahead and hop in. See if we can haste up some Drakes and maybe like 20 ball someone. Play League. What does chat think about this guy's looks? Fabulous. Fabulous. You can say otherwise, but we know the truth. All right. Round 1 on the draw. See what kind of an opening hand we got. Chat said Joe Rogan Jr. Not bald enough to be Joe Rogan Jr. Pedro, 6sim, thank you all so much for the follows. Hope you're having an awesome, awesome evening wherever you're at in the world. Crackling Drake, not going to be online for a minute. We do have a Spell Snare on the draw and a Preordain. So I think I'm going to roll with it. Hopefully our opponent does not get too far out ahead of us too quickly. Got a Convoke deck. Oh. Oh, man. This could be pretty terrifying for us. What are the Convoke payoffs nowadays? We're going to have to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to bolt this Moon Knight. All right, we need an untapped Painless Land, which you are not. Nope. Nope. All right, on to game 2. Not a good game to be on the or on the draw for us. Goblin Bushwhacker. You have Pyroclasms in the board, so that's pretty fun. Stern Scolding for the Bushwhackers. Probably want Force Negation because it can hit like a Gleeful Demolition or Kuldotha Rebirth. I think that's about all I want. Oh, we even have Vampire's Vengeance in the main. I forgot about that card. I don't know how many spell snare targets they actually have, but I feel like it's not many. Board out a couple iterations because they're pretty slow. Why do they play this Drake? The 4-mana Crackling Drake? Because you can combine it with Arena of Glory to hit your opponent for a very large number. Plus, you got to have some way of actually ending the game. I think I want to mulligan this. Like, I would have a decent number of looks at a Pyroclasm. Yeah, your combo is just like play a blue-red control deck or control game, be a Bolt Snap Bolt deck, and then eventually Crackling Drake plus Arena of Glory to haste it up, and maybe just hit your opponent with like a 10 ball in the air. Yeah, I think I'm shipping this. This hand has a Pyroclasm with a Cascade Bluffs as our only land. This is why I don't play filter lands. Okay. Keep, throwback, trainer, stern scolding. That's a lot of Mishra's Baubles. Ice Trainer's the bundle promo. Is that what it is? I just took all the fancy looking arts and threw them together. Alright. I think I'm just going to chill on Stern Scolding Counterspell for this turn. No follow-up. Just keep chilling for a little bit. Try to find a Pyroclasm. Not gonna lie, I did not expect Orcish Bowmasters out of their deck. All right. Well, we've got some looks for a Pyroclasm. Hold up. Rotten Mouth Viper. 5 and a black, 6/6. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may sacrifice any number of non-land permanents. Costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrificed this way. Enters or attacks, put a blight counter on it. Then for each blight counter on it, each opponent loses 4 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Well, I don't need counterspell because it's already down on the battlefield. Discharge doesn't do it. If I can block it, take a bunch of damage. Feels pretty bad. Okay. So if I flare and counter this, I have to discard both of my cards or I die to the Viper. Otherwise, they attack, I discard flare. Take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go to 1. Seems like all roads lead to death. Another bolt. Another bolt. Okay. I was not ready for that one. Gotta be prepared for the Kuldotha Rebirth Cotton or something Mouth Viper deck. All right. Win the die roll. Functional opening hand. No 1-drop, so we'll play tapped Steam Vents. Arena of Glory comes in tapped unless you control a mountain, which we conveniently do now. Then we can Thunder Trap. All right. Pretty good chance we're not going to get to Flare of Denial, but they might play something that I want to hit. And I feel like if I get a chance to hit something, I do want to. Ooh, land is really nice. So they didn't play a 3-drop this turn. So I think that I'd want to just go ahead and Vampire's Vengeance. Maybe I need to do it on their upkeep. So if they have a cord, then they might be inclined to go ahead and use it, and I can flare the cord. I've got to stop on their upkeep this time. Bowmasters. Sure. Set all the upkeep stops just in case. So now it's like even more likely that I could snag a cord. Would be a fantastic turn for me. Come on. You know you want to. You know you want to just fire off that cord. You got the mana, you got the cord. Whew. Love to see that. Love to see that. What a great turn. Now, we expressive iteration, try to keep finding land drops. Oh, do I want Flame of Anor? Flame of Arnar? Probably. Like Flame to hand. Would have loved an untapped land so that I could potentially like snap Flare. I'll take a Crackling Drake. That's a win condition at some point. Yawgmoth. Hardly know her. Alright. Let's crack our blood. Get rid of this spell snare. Preordain first. Still, I want lands. Deal 5 to the Yawgmoth. Okay. So we've got double bolt to hopefully deal with anything in hand. Say in hand, I mean like on the battlefield. So let's pass it over. Never mind. Just go ahead and kill this. Counter spell, we got Snap Bolt. Chthonian Nightmare. So this is currently 7. So I let this go. And we've got EOT, Snap Bolt, put them to 9. And then Snapcaster plus Hasted Drake should be lethal. Doesn't matter if they Soul Cauldron this bolt. All we're trying to do is get spells, because Drake doesn't care if they're exiled or if they're in the graveyard. Ooh, there it is. Ooh, there it is. Boom. Yeah. Yeah. Hasty Drake in game 1. Game 2? I don't remember. No, it's match 2. Hasty Drake in game 1, match 2. Pyroclasm, great. Stern Scolding, great. Surgical, maybe. It's kind of cool that we're not running any Force of Negations in the main. Definitely a lot worse. I could trim some number of Snapcaster against the Endurance deck. I'm going to trim some counter spells, not bring in the Surgical. Trim a Flare, and I do think I will trim a couple Snapcaster, like one Snapcaster. We'll just trim one and see. Playing Shadow and Nethergoyf and Murktide's got me with like an unnatural fear of the card Endurance. Yawgmoth. Alright, second land is nice. Unfortunately, it is not a second blue source for this counter spell. So opponent's got an Orcish Bowmaster. I don't want to counter this. Gonna hope Thunder Trap Trainer's enough to kind of like keep the current board in check. But I feel like I need to hold up Stern Scolding in case they have a Grist here. Definitely not letting you have a Nightmare. Flooded Strand is good. So we can just go ahead and get down Trainer. We'll take another Spell Snare. And hopefully Thunder Trap Trainer can slow down everything we got on the other side of the field here. All right, we'll hold up in case of Court of Calling. Get rid of a halfling, because I want to be able to counter things. Endurance. I'll just counterspell the endurance. Like, they can't follow up with the Yawg. They can't cord off just Yawgmoth as green mana. Even if they have a land here. Find me lands, please. Thank you. So Thundering Falls to hand. Flooded Strand to exile in case we need the untapped red source. And go. I guess it is a little unfortunate because now they can cord. All right. Well, Flame of Anor gives us a way to kill a Yawgmoth. Maybe they just don't have cord. No. Okay. Terms and conditions are acceptable. Pretty good against Drake, surprisingly, since Drake specifies hand and or graveyard and exile. So putting them back into the library be effective. All right, now I do think that I'm going to Flame of Anor end of turn here. Because if they cord, they can only cord for 3. So if they want to get like another endurance or a grist, that's fine. Unfortunately, because of the way Flame of Anor is formatted, you do draw the cards first. Another endurance here, or another Bowmaster here is kind of rough. They'll get 4 Bowmaster triggers. That's a lot of lands. Okay. Wipe out my board. All right, what's my shortcut for always yes? Okay. Snapcaster. And I guess Snapcaster keeps us alive. So we shoot the Bowmaster so that I can preordain. I think I have to find a Drake. So we'll target Bolt. Block the 6/6. Plan to bolt them in the face. Alright. I could have Stern Scolding the Yawgmoth, but like I'm not winning that game. I think I have to get the damage and like find a way to get a lethal Crackling Drake. So maybe Expressive Iteration into something. Just don't believe there's a world in which I'm countering a Yawgmoth and winning without that damage. Yeah, pretty good hand. Interaction for a halfling. Counter for a 2-drop. Snap Flare. Eventual Drake. I'm getting like all these messages from our real estate team about something going on at 8. Gotta keep my eye on that. All right. We'll gladly go ahead and take out this Delighted Halfling here. Yeah. I could probably wait and like Pyroclasm that away, but need lands. It's very tough to win a game of Magic without lands. Devoted Druid. Okay. So it's been like 3 games, and this Cascade Bluffs has looked awful. Fat Brown, I appreciate you hanging out for sure. Hope you have an awesome rest of your evening. What? Obelisk Spider. 1 black green. Whenever Obelisk Spider deals combat damage to a creature, put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So this is like a what's it called that can't be bolted? Not really, but you get the idea. Okay. So we can Pyroclasm discharge away the board. Except for the Yawgmoth. Probably fine. Dot, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome evening. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. Alright, so kill off the spider. It's got a Yawgmoth. Alright, so they're gonna untap. Make a dude. Or does Hapatra only trigger on your opponent's creatures? Or you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a snake. So they're gonna make a bunch of snakes. Instant follow as soon as I saw you playing such a good combination of colors. I'll take that. Do I want Stern Scolding? I think I do. I think I need lands. Okay. Option number 1, Snap Pyroclasm. Option number 2, Flame of Anor. Shoot the Hapatra, shoot the Soul Cauldron while I've got mana available. That's probably the smart play. They can make a couple snakes if they want. But I can maybe snap Pyroclasm next turn. Oh, wait. No, I can't. Yeah, I can. Snap, Flame of Anor, Bolt Shoot, hold up Flare of Denial. Yeah. I think I just have to. feels so bad to get like no Snapcaster value. That feels so bad. But I'm hoping... It feels like their last card in hand is a Yawgmoth. And I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to Flare of Denial the Yawgmoth. And then maybe get down to Drake and try to like rebuild. I probably can't afford to block this turn. Yep. If my gut is right. Endurance. Guess that does just like kill my Drake if it resolves. Decent draw. I wonder if they're supposed to just get a Dryad Arbor right there so they can attack Quill Spike. Hold it. Going off a deep end here. So I need like another Pyroclasm. Another Pyroclasm effect. Another Snapcaster. Even just like a Bolt is reasonable. Can't kill him in 2, so I can't attack. You eventually find a Yawgmoth. Can't do it. Need to find a Snapcaster, Pyroclasm, Bolt. Nope. Did so well to hang on through Hapatra, Soul Cauldron, Obelisk, double Hapatra. What we got? Oh, there's a Bolt. There. We were flooding pretty hard at that point. Trying to think of the early turns in that game. I'm sure there were several points that we could have acted very differently. I'll have to go back through and look over that one. I'm like, part of me feels like I could have done more, but then the other part's like, well, needed to hit that third land to do a little bit more, a little bit sooner. So it's a close one. We don't have red mana untapped on turn 1. Arid Mesa, no companion. Are you energy or are you like Jeskai control? But I don't know if they run Arid Mesa. Neither. I've seen a lot of green, white, X, birthing ritual decks running around. Could very well be one of those. Nadu-less Nadu. I mean, I don't really know what my opponent's doing, but I see green and white in a color combination, and I usually assume that that's the kind of deck that I want Galvanic Discharge against. Oh. Just value Shardless Agent into Voice of Resurgence. That is an option that our opponent has available to them. So many Flame of Anors. Bant Company, is that a thing? I guess we just played like 2019 Grixis Shadow, so I absolutely shouldn't be shocked if my opponent shows up with Bant Company. But I can't imagine you play Shardless Agent in your company deck, right? Going to cascade into White Orchid Phantom. Peace Bomb, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome evening so far. Just come in tapped off of this. Odo's like gotten rid of my... what's the... Yeah. Is there any way to change this? Figure that out later. I would love to use White Orchid Phantom's ability. Love to find something better, but here we are. So it can hit me for 2, down to 17. I do have those 2, or that 1 copy of Witch's Vampire's Vengeance. Vampire something in the deck, so maybe I can just start like Flame of Anor, drawing 2. Okay. Guess let's just go ahead and discharge the White Orchid Phantom. Bruh. Bruh. Could you please stop it? Opponent's going deep. Opponent is... Weird. I feel like there's such a good chance we die to this. Okay. That's a little bit better for the home team. So let's go you on top. I'm just going to go ahead and cast that. Voice was one of my favorite cards ever in 2016. Not now. Not still a Voice fanatic. Skyclave Apparition was on my radar. Absolutely it was. So they're going to hit me down to 3. We're going to cry slightly. This isn't even green-white value town. This is like Bant, Shardless Agent into things that Shardless Agent doesn't hit value town. In a Pyroclasm Enjoyers, I mean, in the sideboard, yeah. I gotta kill all of these on my turn so I don't make tokens off this Voice of Resurgence. Depends on something else entirely. They are doing things and going places, just maybe not in that order. I am very confident that I don't know what to expect next. I do know I have a whole mess of Stern Scoldings and Pyroclasms to bring in. All right. Let's go to game 2. I don't know what they're getting back, but I assume it's bad for me. So it is just like green-white value town. This feels like an atrocious matchup for us. Like, here's my deck full of things that 2 for 1 in the face of Bolt and Stern Scolding. Can't imagine Flare of Denial is very good if we're just 2 for 1ing ourselves. Just hope to like get a little cheese action in with Blood Moon. This deck was super fun back in the day. Retreat to Coral Helm incoming. I don't know if I can handle that emotionally. I really don't. Okay. Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly positive Simian Spirit Guide is banned. So if I go for a Preordain on turn 1 and they play a 2-drop on their turn 1, I'll know I was wrong. Waiting for the Loxodon Smiter. Loxodon Smiter, maybe like a Fleece Mane Lion. You're feeling spicy. You know what Loxodon Smiter makes me think of is Little Kid Abzan with like Loxodon Smiter and Wiltleaf Liege. And the only deck you can ever beat in your entire existence is the Jund and Abzan Mirror. You know the deck I'm talking about? Just like your opponent Liliana the Veils and ticks up and you're like, ha ha ha, my time has come. You fool, I was waiting for this moment. I guess we'll go counter spell to hand. Get the island. I know I can't play discharge off this, but it's a land. No. I mean, I hope. I really, really hope. I just have this like gut feeling that I'm about to get White Orchid phantomed. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, Blood Moon, carry me. Carry me. I'm surprised as Control Freak you aren't playing Control. So, way back in the day, I only played Control. Like, would not touch anything else. And that's when I made the Moto account, made my Moto name. That was back during, like, Lorwyn Extended. And then eventually I just swapped it up. Stopped playing Control. How big is this thing? 2/2. So I can like Witch's Vengeance with it ETB trigger on the stack. I guess. If that's the case, I probably just want to go ahead and play out the Drake. If they spend their turn casting the Witch, I go to my turn, Vampire's Vengeance, attack them for a chunk, and then like untap and have Sink into Stupor up. That's probably fine for me, right? Okay. Opponent does not want to Solitude their own elemental token. For shame. Okay, what is... I guess playing still Vampire's Vengeance, take out the board. But I don't have to do it right now. I can pass and wait, because maybe they put one more thing on the board and I get to like wipe it too. Three, 4, 5, 6. Should I wait for second main? Beginning of your end step, if you control a creature, look at the top 7 cards of your library. Then you may sacrifice a creature. Okay. I would like you to not have any creatures. Please and thank you. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could Crackling Drake and still have like Snap Spell Snare or Snap Iteration. Not Iteration, Discharge. I guess that's worth it. So close. So close. Sarah Paragon. Sarah, put back in your hand. Sarah, go away, Agon. Can I Snapcaster? Oh. Is that 3 down to 15? Snapcaster with haste. 3 down to 12. Crackling Drake grows to an 8. 9, 10. So it's not quite lethal. So I just want to attack with the Drake this turn. I do love the fact that at 18 life, we had to sit there and like actually think about if that was lethal. I did play with TBR last league. I did not reach 100. We did not have any TBR kills. So I just like have to let this resolve because they've got Sarah Paragon. Or I could flip the blood token, see what I hit. Bumblebee, thank you so much for the follow. If maybe we draw a counter spell. Do not. Pretty good one though. Renegade Rallier. Please no. So another last card is Sarah Paragon. Think, Bolt. Counterspell. You don't know Modern Staple Thunder Trap Trainer? Come on. Such an obvious Magic card. That hits a Sarah Paragon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana means I cannot Thunder Trap and Offspring and Flame of Anor. So I'll... No. No way it's right to haste. Or I just get another Blood Moon? Gotta be reasonable, right? Like, hey, you went through the whole process of recruiting up a Witch Enchanter the first time around. No! Stop it. Thankfully, they have nothing they can rebuy. Shoot that. Can you have countered the Solitude and let them resolve Sarah? I could, but like I wouldn't be attacking through the Sarah. I wouldn't be killing them right there. And if I'm not killing them, then the Sarah just like accrues all the value. They were at 18 and my Drake was what, a 7 when that was happening? Am I misremembering? I'll have to go back and double check. If it was a force block situation. Well, we didn't know about the bolt yet, right? Wasn't the bolt the next draw? And that's also assuming 2 attacks in with the Drake. They just didn't have to block the first one, right? I could very well be misremembering it. But I could have sworn it was... We had like a 7-power Drake. They had the Solitude plus the Sarah. If we countered the Solitude, they resolved the Sarah. We weren't killing them on our next untap. So they could just take it. And then we got to deal with Sarah getting stuff back. Rafa, thank you so much for the follow. Or Rafa, thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you have an awesome rest of your evening. Don't think Blood Moon's going to get them again. How many ticks for this list? Let's see. I could type. Hand's reasonable. Had some missed what you said. I was saying I'll have to go back and check. I might be misremembering it. But I could have sworn it was, we had like a 7-power Drake. They were at 18 or so. They evoked the Solitude on their turn. We let it resolve, and then they cast the Sarah, and we counter it. If we had not, if we had countered the Solitude and they resolve the Sarah, they passed our turn. We're not forcing the chump with the Sarah right there because we're only dealing like 7. And if they take it, go to their turn. I forget what they had in their yard. So I was just saying that it would have taken 2 attacks with the Drake. So we just weren't forcing lethal on that very next attack. If we were forcing lethal on that next attack, then yeah, you would 100% be right. But like I said, I could be misremembering it. I need to go back and double check. I don't want to assume I was right. Daughter, this list looks like it's right at about 125 ticks. with Force Negation and Spell Snare being the pricey pieces. So weird to hear Force and Spell Snare being pricey. It's a hard decision. They play such a value game. Yeah, like, I'm always hesitant of anything like Sarah Ascendant or whichever Sarah it is, Sarah Paragon, resolving, because that's how things just snowball so much. It does look pretty fun to play, and you're right, it is not pricey. Especially for a deck that looks like it can compete fairly well. Now, if you start adding things like Tamiyo, the price is going to go up very, very quickly. So just keep that in mind. Maybe it was right to keep Drake to push through, but then again, stopping the Sarah is also good. It could have been right to keep the Drake. Like, if I go back and look at their graveyard and there wasn't anything that crazy, but they also had the double birthing rituals on board. So if they sack the Sarah into turn and hit a Solitude anyway, then I'd be in some trouble. What are we getting? Their only flying creature is Sarah. They got the 2-mana blow up a land knight dude. It flies. White Orchid Phantom. If they hit Skyclave, you lose. No, that's what I mean. Like, countering the Sarah kept them from having any creatures for the birthing rituals as well. Which, it's a swing. You don't know if they're going to hit something or not. I'll be honest with you, I've always been a paper Magic kind of player. Just made an MTGO account a few days ago. So I'm not so fond of the meta. Like, not so fond of the online meta. The online meta in Magic Online is rough, to say the least. Bad both ways. It really is bad both ways. Birthing Ritual will get a Snap Spell Snare. That's for sure. I know it's top tier played right now, but I like underdog decks. Sounds like you're welcome in the Shadow community at any point. Because that's all we do is play underdog decks. I am very surprised that my opponent would spend a Solitude on a Snapcaster right there. That seems like a big waste. I think I'm just windmill slamming Drake. Am I? Maybe it's better to just Pyroclasm in case they have like a birthing ritual. All right, I'm gonna play out the Drake. I want to keep drawing cards. Said once I stepped into chat with such a combination of colors, I was completely charmed by the stream. Well, it's definitely a good combination of colors to play. I guess if this is... Yeah, if this is like a Renegade Rally or Get Back Birthing Ritual, there's nothing I could have done about this anyway. It is not a Renegade Rally or Get Back Birthing Ritual. Okay. Sanctifier, annoying but beatable. Wipe away the dorks. And am I playing Thunder Trap Trainer or just holding up lightning bolts? I think we're just gonna hold up bolts. Also does a decent job of making it look like I've got counter spells sitting around. Just at the ready. Bolt you in the face. Okay. Opponent gets a Solitude. How close are we to lethal? So we Lightning Bolt here. Go up to 4. They're down to 8. Untap. Discharge 5. We would have to find a Lightning Bolt off the Thunder Trap Trainer. Do you remember when people were calling for Death Shadow to be banned? I'm pretty sure there's like an entire LSV article about that. I'm pretty sure LSV was one of the big ones calling for Shadow to get banned. So we go that to hand. That to exile. Bolt you in the face. Bolt you in the face. Attack him with our Crackling Drake. Little crackles magackles. Oh. Both Gurmag and Shadow were hard AF to kill. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Like, Gurmag Angler died off when the options to kill Gurmag Angler started, like, expanding. Once you got to, like, Unholy Heat, and, Unholy Heat, Leyline Binding. Like, Gurmag was completely dead at that point. Now we'll keep this. Like is what put and keep Shadow on the map. I don't know about that. Prismatic Ending hurt Shadow, but not so much Gurmag Angler. Yeah, for Death Shadow, not Gurmag, right. Like, if they Prismatic Ending for 7, I'm calling Judge so quick. Yeah, we're going to tap for red, blue, white, black, green, gold, colorless, purple. Hit your Gurmag Angler. I like Flame of Anor, but I like being able to cast my stuff a bit better. Hybrid mana. That's true. Tap for a Phyrexian mana. I tap for a legendary red mana. Just noticed the new account handle, the DB slash or DB underscore control freak underscore TTV. Is it a God account? There are a few cards that you can't play, but for the most part, it's like everything. We found out you can't play this Vendilion Click. There's like secret layer stuff, some secret layer stuff that you can't play. But the majority of everything's safe. Let's see. And you get access to like all the avatars. So I just have this ridiculous collection of avatars now. You can collect prizes, but you can't trade anything. So anything that's like on this account is locked to this account. Is there a world where I just want to like Snapcaster Flare this? That's probably giving up too much. Will it publish trophies? Yes. Will publish trophies. You can enter challenges. But you cannot enter anything to do with the mocks. So you can't enter like showcase challenges. You can't enter preliminaries. Bone Crusher's anti-ring tech. I would assume so. Like typically is. I don't know about in the case of Boros Energy if it is, but probably a fairly safe assumption. I'm gonna discharge the cat so we don't get snowballed more. Haven't played Modern in 2 years, so I'm rusty. There is no such thing, at least at the moment, in my opinion, as being good at Modern. You just, like, play the right configuration for the right event. Unfortunately, cards nowadays are, like, so good that you're just going to have a bunch of games that you don't have the right thing and your opponent does, and there's nothing that you could have done about it. I probably should just like respond to this with Snapcaster, shoot the Ajani, but deck selection, probably the most important thing. Now, if your goal is to win as much as possible, then yes, deck selection is a huge aspect of whether or not that will actually work. If your goal is not to win the most games possible, then that argument can kind of go out the window. All right, so let's block Ragavan. Go to discharge the Ajani. So that if they want to flip it, they got to respond by killing a cat. Looks like they don't want to kill it. Could just have Bolt or Flage. Want to build Naya Kahira cat tribal? You absolutely could with my favorite cat. It's a lot worse now that Ragavan isn't as popular. But Quasali Ambusher. Best cat ever. The 2/3 with reach for 3 mana. That if an opponent's attacking you or if a creature's attacking you and you have a force and a plains, you can play it without paying its mana cost. So you just like flash in this free 2/3 with reach. And it was so sick when decks like Zoo were trying it out briefly. Yes, Thunder Trap could hit me a Bolt. And dead on board. I remember in the Liliana era, I ran Loxodon Smiter, good versus discard in blue. Loxodon Smiter and Wiltleaf Liege, Obstinate Baloth, the like perfect anti-discard package. Okay. Stern Scolding, Pyroclasm, Surgical for Flage. Boarding out. Flares. What else do I want out? Maybe like trim on Thunder Traps. From a counter spell, just go with the removal plan. I don't think there will ever, I don't think there will ever be a stream where I'm not just so inclined to call that thing Thunderclap Trainer. And I don't know why. Just Thunder Cheek Clapping Trainer. It's a little bit slow, but you guys see many domain zoo decks nowadays. I've seen it like once online in the last few weeks. I did see it in paper last weekend, I think. Got a little, I don't even know if I want to say a little fortunate. Like, I saw really good hands against it. Any Rocky Hulk Hogan enjoyers? Rocky for sure. Never been a big Hulk Hogan fan. I don't really have a good reason why that is. Just Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Never cared for either. I remember being upset when opponents would pitch Obstinate Bailoff to my Lily. So I had a streak for a while of like going to GPs and just getting the most atrociously egregious round one matchups. And this included such examples as playing a Grixis control deck in a team event, and my round one opponent winning the die roll, going turn one Arbor Elf, turn two Utopia Sprawl, Chameleon Colossus. In the blind, game one. And I'm sitting there just like terminate, fatal push or something like, bruh. And then I would go with Jund and just run into like Tron round one, Scape Shift round one every time. So there was one that I went to, and I was playing Abzan mid-range. Round one, ran into Scape Shift, like bad matchup. And game one, they won. Game two, I'm on the play and just have like this hand that runs over with Siege Rhinos, feeling great. Go to game three, keep a hand with a Noble Hierarch and a Liliana of the Veil. Turn two, Liliana of the Veil. Like, this is about as good as I can possibly get against Abzan. And I go for my turn two, Liliana, tick up, and they discard an Obstinate Bailoff and untap and kill my Liliana. I'm just like, I am over this. Like, I'm so done going to events. Lesson of the story, mid-range is bad, sad but true. It's more just like the lesson being, if you're playing modern, be proactive. Whatever you do, just be proactive. Speaking of be proactive, do I need to just Vampire's Vengeance away the board now? Or do I need to wait and try to catch them with another card? Like maybe they go untap, Flage your Thundertrap Trainer, and I get to Vampire's Vengeance and like go to my turn, clear board. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. So many ways this goes poorly for me. You've never seen, was this, go preview. I don't remember the set. Not Murders. Not Midnight Hunt. What's the other one? It's one of those. That was like such a dead giveaway that I have something to cast. Oh, they hit a flage. Who's shocked? Literally nobody. Nobody is shocked. Trainer dead. So ready to get mana tithed. Okay. Well, at the moment they can't. At the moment they couldn't Aether Hub to pay for Flage. So go counter spell to hand because I have to have an answer to Flage. Oh. I'll go ahead and bolt the guide. They can't play Flage next turn, regardless of what they do, because they can't make energy without spending mana. And if they don't have energy, then Aether Hub doesn't tap for red or white. Flages for days. All right, so now I need to start being careful of like them having a discharge or something to make the energy they need for the Aether Hub. I'm also probably sacking this blood token pretty aggressively. Hasty Flage. No. Alright, is there a best way to sequence this? Blood token, the sink into super draws me the next card, regardless of what it is. And then I surveil. So I see 2 cards deep, period. But if I surveil first and keep the card on top, then cycling the blood token doesn't really matter. Sure. Okay. Sure, there's a good argument for just like snap preordain there. Blood Moon. What about No Moon? Did they know I have Flame of Anor? No. Revealed Stern Scolding off Thunder Trap. Probably just assumed I had another copy of Snapcaster or something. A little surprised they have Blood Moon in. I'm so over this Cascade Bluffs. This card has been awful every time I've seen it. It's like constantly no red mana on turn 1. How am I liking Izzet compared to Shadow? There's parts that I really like. For one, having the extra 1 mana removal spells. Really, really nice. So just having access to like the discharges and bolts and stuff instead of just the pushes. The card advantage options are decent. The threats are terrible. Like Thunder Trap Trainer being a 2 mana 1/2 sucks. It's just 2 mana 1/2 that draws a card. But the body is just awful. The Drake is cool. I don't know if I would go as far as saying like good, just different. Snapcaster's been reasonable. What do we got? Flage. Fable. Ah. Fable's a bit of a pain, isn't it? All right, we got to preordain, find some more lands if we want to have any chance. This deck seems like it's really tough if you fall behind at all. Like if you're ahead and you're hitting land drops and you get to start casting your 2-for-1s, feels pretty good, but as soon as they play like a 1-drop or 2-drop or double spell on a turn that you had to hold up counter spell, seems hard to recover. So many treasure tokens. It's also probably a lot easier to play Ragavan in a build that, like, if your opponent is playing creatures on the ground, you can potentially guide a souls and just fly over. Disruptor Flute, not a card I was expecting to see here. Disruptor Flute the Vampire's Vengeance into go wide around it. They are empty-handed. So if I went like Thunder Trap, Bolt the Ajani, block one of these 2/1s, I take 6, go to 1. I don't even have the lands if I Thunder Trap hit Pyroclasm to cast it. Oof. So if they draw dead, we block Ragavan, take 5 down to 2. untap Pyroclasm. And then they draw dead again. And again, and again. Nope. Dead to that. If they draw dead, or they draw a raptor into another threat. One of the two. Just like that deck to a T. Just snowballs so well. If that deck does become, like, absolutely rampant, I mean, it's already pretty bad because you're talking about the number 1 and 2 decks in the format being the exact same thing outside of a couple cards. And that's functionally a 27, almost 27.5% meta share. Now they're just like a 1 ring deck as well if they want to be. This deck almost feels like it's trying to do the Death Shadow impression. Like, oh, here's a battle raged shadow in the form of an arena of gloried crackling drake. But all right, what you got? Back-to-back energy. All right. Hold up, counter spell. What you got? Dude. Somebody's got to tell me what, like, the statistical likelihood is of Amped Raptor into a Johnny with the consistency that it seems to be. I'm telling you, like, if you told me it was a sure thing, 100% success rate to hit the Johnny, I would believe you at the moment. Raptor on empty board at 2 energy is silly by opponent 2 to be rewarded with a Johnny. I mean, that's just usually how it goes in these matchups. Like, there should be a number of times that they hit a static prison or a galvanic discharge or something. Even like another Raptor. I don't even think I would complain about Raptor hitting second Raptor. But doesn't seem to want to play out that way, does it? Am I just going flame to hand? Blooded Strand. Your hand must stink. I think they just like don't want to play into the known spell snare that I just showed them. Streams on my TV and doing some stuff here, but every time I watch, there's Boros on the other side. Boros is everywhere online. Like, you're not ready to play against the deck, just match after match. Then go take a break. Go do something else. Come back to it later. Keep a Delta. Go ahead and discharge a Raptor. Just trying to get to my turn with all my mana available and empty board so I can look at snap counter spell or something. So I do think I'll go ahead and fire off one of these preordains. Sure. Start trying to set up like a one-shot Crackling Drake. Thundertrap Trainer coming on top. Okay. Bolt me, sure. Just sitting on a bunch of lightning bolts. Johnny gets a spell snare. You know what, opponent? I can lightning bolt you as well. Yeah, I know it may seem like a troll saying it, but I believe banning grief was a poor decision. It was only done due to how people play modern nowadays. So I don't think banning grief was a poor decision. I do not think it was the right decision at this moment. I don't think grief is the most oppressive thing. And I made a whole video about like the ban or my ban predictions. And the very first thing I discussed was banning Nadu, obviously, banning the One Ring. And if you ban those, you have to ban something out of energy. Like, the deck is just too oppressive to any sort of stumbling. It's all over the place. People are tired of playing against it, and it's just going to be the next man up. Not that Grief solved that, but I think Grief is like a card that needs to go in the long run, but it didn't need to go right now. But it definitely doesn't sound like a troll thing. So you're safe there. Yeah, we'll take a counter spell. And we're just going to try to set up like attacking with a lethal Drake next turn, one way or the other. I'm assuming they're just sitting on like another bolt, maybe 2 bolts, a galvanic discharge. Sure. Place something out. Haste up this Giganta. Are you going to get impatient first? That... All right. We'll just counterspell this. I could, like, let it resolve and Flame of Enorid or something. But there's always the chance that my opponent just, like, resolves it and then taps it for mana and plays something else. And there's, like, no reason to deal with that when they're just dead. Nice. All right. Still not sure about my sideboard plan. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of cards in the deck that you like actively don't want. I think Flare of Denial's pretty bad. Probably just cutting all the Thunder Trap trainers. Like, it doesn't block anything. If they have Cat into Johnny or something, you can't block with it. All their first strikers just kind of swing through. That's why I believe it should have stayed. I understand discarding 2 cards turn 1 isn't fun, but it's a basic interaction used to prevent these decks like Boros Energy and Nadu when he was around from winning turn 2 to 3 with powerful win combos. Yeah. Perfectly reasonable take. Like, I think the deck or the format in general needs some sort of policing, but your police deck has to have a downside. Like, for years, Splinter Twin was the police deck. Splinter Twin said, if you're trying to go long, play big mana, something like that, then you have to be able to stop me from killing you on turn 4. And the way that that got policed is your win condition involves like a bunch of dirtly creatures and Splinter Twin. So if your opponent does just end up like countering your Splinter Twin or bolting your dirtly creatures, abrupt decaying your dirtly creatures, then you kind of stumble around a bit. And grief's kind of the same thing. Like, if you can't answer the grief, then that's kind of like the litmus test for your deck, right? I'm not going to give you life gain trigger this turn. But I just think like bannings like this one tend to happen in a pattern that results in another banning occurring later, because you wouldn't ban like I said, the next man up. And Boros Energy, as soon as Nadu was gone, just was such an obvious best deck in the format. You could make an argument that like, oh, it might have a weak Ruby Storm matchup or something, but is Ruby Storm that good? So just without having anything to kind of police Boros Energy, its meta share looks like it's just primed to keep rising, especially now that they're running the One Ring and some variations. I'll take 2 here and see if I can catch them into turn. Kind of needed them to not have more Nakatals here. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, if they go to end step, then they get to make 2 copies, which sucks. But if I kill it now, then they get to stay in their second main phase and cast something else. But I would also recommend like not listening to me when it comes to any sort of opinions on the bannings or unbannings or anything of the sort, because I am well aware that I've got some hot takes on that one. There's so many cards that I'm like, yeah, unban it, perfectly reasonable. And even more that I'm all in on the ban train for. Okay. Why not play Tarn there? I could, but I really just wanted to get like my tapped land into play. Like, they didn't do anything with 3 mana and free reign last turn. Also not sure why they're not adding, or are they going to add Yawgmoth? Yeah. It's like that. Just got my land into play for free because the opponent wasn't doing anything. So counterspell to hand, Flame of Anor to exile, and we'll just draw 2 here. I didn't want to play Thundering Falls because I knew I had the expressive iteration on top. So I would just be wasting the Surveil if I played the Thundering Falls. But like, I need to find a Drake or something regardless. I could sit here and try to counter stuff, but I'm going to die to the cat tokens if I do that. I need to proactively dig a little bit more. All right, show me the Pyroclasm. All right, so now Pyroclasm, probably not enough. It'll be good, though. Yeah, just finding all of your counter spells when you're behind on board is not the best way to go about it. I really wish Thunder Trap Trainer had a prowess. So you could like Pyroclasm and have it survive. Man, the coming to play tapped lands in this deck are pretty brutal. At least it seems like they've been a little brutal. Don't think I want a Thunder Trap and have to sack it off for Flare. It looks like YouTube chat's stuck. I should probably just put that flame in hand, cast in their turn, holding up interaction. Probably just put that flame in hand and cast it in their turn, holding up other interaction. Like cast it into their turn. Probably would have been fine. I really wanted to dig for... Was I digging for anything at that point? Might not have been. Bolt discharge, bolt discharge. Guess we'll take the discharge in case I need to hit something small. Maybe I can hit something small and then like snap and hit something bigger. I mentioned police decks earlier, which I forgot to mention. I think banning Fury was very reasonable since Rakdos Scam was a bit OP. With the banning of Grief, simple mono black Scam, or even Scam 8 rack decks, we're going to have a much harder time keeping up with the meta. I agree with the idea that those decks are going to have a bit tougher time. But I'm also very adamant about the point that, like, those decks shouldn't have a tougher time keeping up with the meta because the top portion of the meta is being propped up by things that shouldn't exist to begin with. And unfortunately, it's a very circular argument. There's really not like a distinct right or wrong one way or the other. But like Scam 8 rack shouldn't have to have Grief to keep up with the ring because the ring shouldn't exist. You know what I mean? Max Med, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome evening wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. Why is this thing 2-drop? Shock would let Stern plus Snap Stern. I'm not Sterning the Guide of Souls, though. Like, even if I could, I want to save the Stern Scolding for the 2-for-1s. And Guide is not in that 2-for-1 list. But yeah, if they had gone for double 2-for-1, then Shocking Him would have let us deal with that. You are correct in that regard. Fair take, though. I think that's where a lot of modern problems stem to. Yeah, I mean, I will fight tooth and nail about the idea that the ring is not a healthy card because the ring does not, like, make your... the ring does not make bad cards good. It makes bad cards playable because you've got so many more bad cards in your hand. Like, the ring doesn't make Scape Shift good. The ring makes your Scape Shift deck good because you just have 50 things. Dranith Magistrate. I just hate looking at things like oh, this deck is good or bad or whatever because, or this deck is good because the ring exists, or my deck should be good, and the only way it will be good is if the ring exists. I hate that argument. Alright, so Ocelot's fine. Or my really bad deck needs the ring to keep up with the good decks. Well, it wouldn't be that way if, like, the ring just didn't exist. You wouldn't have to keep up with the good decks because the good decks wouldn't have the ring. But it's all just like a, like I said, a terribly circular argument that never really gets anywhere. I know some people will agree, some will disagree. It's a lot of whatever. So if I go Snapcaster Flame, so the problem with Snap into Flame is if I snap target the Flame and they kill, like go to kill my Snapcaster before the Flame target resolves, then I don't get both halves of the Flame. It's probably fine. Like, I can always just draw 2 or something if I want to. Like, draw 2, flare the Draneth Magistrate, and still have Vengeance for the Ocelot Pride. That's probably fine. Like, I'm not surprised they have removal because I haven't really done anything to warrant removal. Yeah, this does seem fine. Okay. Look at the City's Blessing, have a whole bunch of cat token things. Draw 2. Also seems good. I can't imagine a world where they cast anything first main phase, but I gotta at least give them a chance, right? Should have held the land. Completely forgot about Vengeance making the blood token. Ooh. With offspring, you say? Is there a certain way I have to tap this for haste? Or does it all count in the same mana cost? I'm going to assume it counts all in the same mana cost. Flame of Anor. Flame. All right. Let's see. On top of that, decks that don't run the One Ring due to how they were made or just doesn't synergize well, just simply aren't on par with decks that run the ring just because it won't cause the loss of synergy. Good examples, 8-Rack running Ensnaring Bridge. Yeah, like you either play the ring or you can't keep up with the ring. Or you play the ring or you have to play something else that's like so over the top busted that it allows you to keep up with the ring. Look at all them juicy islands with Harbinger. Boros ain't ready. I mean, to be fair, they do have some planes out here. All right, give me something to flame of Anor here. Not doing a very good job of playing creatures. Pretty decent one, right? Let's see. The cliche. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome evening. Might not be cliche, but that's what I'm going with at the moment. So I'm not hasting up the Drake because they're not dead in 2 attacks, even if I do. So just chill back. You got it. And stuff like that. Cascade Bluffs, my mortal enemy. Not to mention, running 4 One Rings will cost you either your entire collection or land you in some deep credit card debt. Also true. Why not counter? What are we afraid they cast and resolve? Flage? Flage kind of a big deal. If I bolt him, he died. How do you figure? Huh. Man, sure would be nice to have a counter spell about now. I guess I could have just drawn 2 in response. Oh, we'll figure it out. Would have killed him with my like 6 power crackling Drake when he was at what, 15 or 16 or something. See, this is why we don't listen to chat when chat says, counter it, counter it, counter it, and kill him. So, my Drake was a 6 power Drake. They were at 15. And I had a Thunder Trap Trainer token. So, I bolt them down to 12. And then what? Where is the other 6 damage coming from? So many of Johnny's, so little time. Bro, stop it. Stop with the Johnny's. My man just triple a Johnny'd. Show me a Drake. Show me a Drake. So I could Pyroclasm. Yeah. Pyroclasm, Haste Snapcaster, Snap Bolt, hit them. That goes red, red, blue. Lightning bolt. Yay. Ah, that league took so long. Bolt, snap, bolt. I only had one bolt, right? Nah, if there's a bolt in hand, then yeah, we just bolt, snap, bolt them. But all we can do is put them to 1 with a ring trigger on their upkeep. How much we suffer. Okay. I am mentally thrown under a bus from playing this deck. Like, okay. Thoughts? Thunderclap Trainer, I think, is like pretty not great. The Offspring stuff is cool, and you get to look and find a card. That's cool, but I just don't. I think the body is unplayable, especially without like prowess or flying or something. And the effect is like mediocre. The Drake Arena stuff's kind of cool. Snapcaster is good but slow. Like the deck, if you're on the play and you get rolling, it's pretty cool. Flame of Venor is a neat value piece. Wish I had more iterations. I don't know. Maybe I'll try the deck again in the future. I don't want to play against Boros with this deck. Feels like everything's so fast, so aggressive. Before I head out, what kind of deck do you think I should build for Modern since I'm trying to get back into it? Big fan of Mono Black and Rakdos every now and then. Like Mono Black mid-range or like a Mono Black aggro.